Oh, dude, there was a controversy that I found out about recently. Shit, I don't remember the name. Probably something like Shiny Odd was the YouTuber. But the dude had a Rising Sun decal on a car, I think it was, and it got banned for pornography. And I'm just like, well, yeah, there are flags in history that stand for things that are oppressive and whatever, but here in America we have the Confederate flag. I'm of the opinion that we shouldn't try to hide that, take it down, or remove any of the statues that glorified Confederate leaders because, well, they lost, and that's all they've got left of it, you know? Uh, apparently, there's people, and it's stupid, all this social justice bullshit. It's like, no, this is history, man. You've got to remember it so it doesn't repeat itself. And there's people who get butthurt over a flag, you know, the rising sun flag standing for a very dark time, at least the history I know of Japan, a very dark time of Japan, and as well as the Nazi, flag. I don't think it should be censored, is what I'm trying to say, and I think it was bullshit. Because again, if we don't remember any of the events, the icons, the statues, the flags, anything that made those kinds of things important, and everything that led up to that kind of important decision making, then it's going to happen again. You know, I just thought I'd pause and talk for a minute about that. Oh, my controller disconnected. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. What the fuck? My game was being all kinds of weird there.
Move in, let's finish this now!
Yeah, let's get shotgun. Yeah, like the Confederate flag stood for slavery and all that, right? And slavery's fucked up, don't get me wrong, but back then people were very polarized about it. There was no middle ground. And the thing about having the slavery back then was a whole sector of the economy down south relied on having slaves. So we had this issue where we had new states. Canada would call them provinces, Europe would call them small countries, but we had more states coming into the United States that were, if they were, there was like some kind of agreement where if it was above Missouri or something, it had to be a Union state, and if it was below Missouri, it had to be um, a slave state, a Confederate state, below Missouri geographically. Um, and, well, California took up almost half of the coastline on the other side, more than half, if I'm not mistaken, um, to the Mexican border on the Pacific Ocean. So, yeah, the Missouri Compromise failed. But the thing about it was the reason why so many people were for or against slavery was because in the North we didn't have to have slavery to flourish and you know make a living. Um, so and you could still have a form of slavery in like indentured servitude and all that. And down south, it was difficult. It was a different lifestyle. Slavery was so ingrained into the South, they wanted to fight for what they had and then change over time, rather than in 5 years slavery has to be gone. And it just didn't fly. And then of course the Civil War happened, but the United States Civil War in the 1800s. So yeah, it's crazy that people want to destroy that and get rid of that. And then like there's people who say, hey, this rising sun um image or in relation to the flag of the rising sun is offensive. We don't want that on on our cars. We don't want to represent that as a brand. And it's like, well, I don't think the rising sun thing is inherently racist. I don't know what caused Japan to join the Axis powers. I don't really know anything about the Japanese theater of war. Um, what I do know is that they like tried to fuck China up real good, and they were busy conquesting all of the Pacific Islands. Um, and they made the mistake of fucking with a U.S. territory by the name of Hawaii. And of course, if you fuck up any part of the United States territories, who we were neutral at the time, then we went down and we nuked them twice, which I think was a bad idea. But hindsight's 2020. So, but I don't understand why people want to censor shit like that. I mean, yeah, you don't want to put a fucking Nazi flag in Child's Game. However, I don't feel like people who now I don't like the Nazis and what they stood for. But again, the Nazis were a product of their time. It had something to do with money and Germany being like broke, and this Hitler dude and his whole gang of people gained power because he was promising we're going to make Germany great, and we're going to get out of this economic depression and all that, and we're going to go to war and take back what's rightfully, German. And it had a lot to do with money. And back then, a lot of the money in the world was controlled by Jews, ironically. So, of course, they started oppressing Jews, and they used the religious things to brainwash people. And that's a pretty broad generalization, but they started attacking the Jews because they had the money, and they wanted to get rid of the Jews in the heartland and take all of the money that belonged to the Jews and put it into Germany. And then it turned into, well, Hitler did a whole bunch of cocaine. Now he wants to conquer all of Europe. So, yeah, that's dark. Do I think people that have Nazis on their vehicles and on their um, just flags of Nazism, do I like it? No. But here's the thing. I'm from America. We have this thing called freedom of speech, right? And you can represent whatever the fuck you want. I mean, let's take a look at the Westboro Baptist Church. I don't even want to go down that rabbit hole, but those guys are fucked up. Would I want to stop them from practicing all of their fucked up shit? Yeah, I think that there should be a stop to the more fucked up and extreme things like attacking funeral processions, but that's illegal. That's what the cops do. Do I think that we should take down their flag and whatever religious values they have because I disagree with them? No. They can express their stuff so long as they're doing it peacefully. And people who censor, historical artifacts like the Rising Sun flag, the Nazi flag, the Union Jack or excuse me, not the Union Jack, the Confederate flag. People who censor that, it's just going to turn into another China, man, if they keep doing that. And I don't want that. Fuck that. I'm just very passionate. I'm very anti-censorship. I'm very pro-choice and freedom of speech. Not pro-choice. Like, you should be able to do whatever the fuck you want so long as you don't impede on the ability of others to do so. You know what I mean? And we can use my belief in firearms as an example. I have a shotgun. Do I want to keep it? No, I don't. I really don't want to have the need to feel the need to own firearms. If I lived out in the wilderness, I would have it because I don't want to get eaten by bears or mountain lions or moose if you're in other parts of the world, Moose won't really eat you, but they will fuck your ass up. So, of course, I'm going to keep shotgun, right? Or some kind of hunting material, but it's a tool at that point. You know, with all these riots and shit that were going on 3 or 4 months ago on this side of the country, I bought the firearm to protect myself. I don't want it. As soon as this shit dies down, the shit's hitting the used market. It's fun to shoot. I just don't want it around, man. I don't want to feel the need to keep one. And, however, because I don't feel the need to keep one, I will never, ever vote against having others have their guns. I am so against people who are like, well, I don't have one, why should other people? That line of thinking is stupid. And it can also cross over to, well, that was offensive. We should stop everybody else from, I don't think cherish would be the right word, but celebrating that this shit happened the way it did. That line of thinking is so fucking retarded. Ugh. So yeah, I know I'm ranting about it, but I think the end of this rant should be like, just don't be a dick. And if you are, you need to remember how you were a dick. If you were a dick as a nation, you need to remember that so you're not that again. You know? And if it's just stupid, man. People argue about the dumbest shit. It's like, let people have guns. Let people remember what they overcame. Let people be informed about the decisions of the people in these times of period. You know, let them be informed about what caused people to be pro-slavery and anti-slavery in the 1800s in the US. Let people know why the 20s, the 10s, and the 30s in Germany was fucked, and why everybody attacked the Jews back then over there. Let people know why Japan, you know, had their rising sun flag, and let them know why they came to the decision to attack, you know, islands and conquer them. And don't censor that shit, because it'll happen again if you do. Yeah, so that was kind of a long episode because of the rant. I just feel that history shouldn't be forgotten, regardless of whether the icon related to a certain part of history is racist or not. And I feel like people who want to take that away, the ability to have that kind of history, the ability to have things to protect yourself and your family, are fucking jackasses.